co-chairs, as you may be aware, inflation rate has remained above the government range of 5.25, let's say 5% and 2% radius or dimension from both sides. That is 7.5% and 2.5%. That range, above that range means, especially a high, it means that inflation is high. It's in a regime of high inflation. And this is from June 2022 to June 2023. And that means that you can actually argue that the cost of living was high during that period. The policy range is well percent on the other side. And we do believe that when it is below the 2.5%, we believe that it's deflation. And when it's above, it's high inflation, above 7.5%. And this is mainly as a result of commodity prices, especially food and fuel. And this has come due to multiple shocks. And so many people have talked about those multiple shocks. The biggest problem of shocks is that, especially from the supply side, is that we don't have solutions from the supply side. You have to bring back the supplies. But if you don't have the supplies, then you also have to take measures to bring to reduce the price level. And those measures sometimes, or most of the times when it's purely supply side effects, they induce the economy into a recession. And you can imagine a combination of recession and inflation is what we used to call it stagflation. Let me give you an example. If food prices are rising because there is no food, the only solution is to bring food into the market. Otherwise, prices will continue rising. If you're constrained by using the demand side tool, that is, you tighten monetary policy, what you are doing is that you are actually trying to dislodge the plateau of high prices in future, but otherwise you have not solved the scarcity value problem. So we have a scarcity problem. And we have so many people have repeated the crisis we have gone through. It's a layer of multiple crises. In fact, what I actually argue that you have crises that are persistent. Most of the time we believe that crises will be short-term. They will peter out. But these are persistent. It means that they create a permanent effect or a structural effect. And you have seen that in, especially during the COVID time, the Ukrainian crisis, the ravaging drought, all these are persistent shocks. And so they create a heavy impact in terms of food scarcity and the scarcity value rises. But of course, at the end of the day, when we thought we had gone through this, then obviously there was tightening monetary policy in the advanced economies. For many years, we thought that the quantitative easing would be prolonged. But of course, we are paying the price that heavy liquidity in the market since or after the global financial crisis, we are paying for this. And that's why you find that the US continue to tighten monetary policy. In fact, even now, as of 2 days ago, we were discussing and everybody argued, and including in the US Secretary to the Treasury, told us about 3 weeks ago that their core inflation is still high. If core inflation is still high, it means that their interest structure will continue to be high. Ours is not core inflation, which is high. Ours is the inflation that is coming from food and fuel effects, which is transmitted to us because we are importing a lot of food. There's a scarcity value. Fuel prices are rising. And of course, it's also exacerbated by the nominal exchange rate movements because domestic traded prices will mimic the movements in the exchange rate. Now, we rely very much on the imported fuel, so it means that there is very little we can do about that. It's only trying to innovate around it. And of course, I've listened to some comments about the G2G. I think my colleague here will come back to say most of the African countries are asking us, how are you doing it? Because you have managed to actually run away from the two effects that we were salvaging ourselves. One of them is because of the dollar depreciation.